I want to talk about something that Brian Windhorst said in an article a couple days ago, talking about the NBA's viewership and how it's declining at a historic rate. It's gone down each week. Now we know we live in the NFL world. NFL's king of the ratings, everything like that. And I don't know if ratings are that big of a deal anymore because of the way people watch TV. But Pab, and I'm gonna bring Bang in for this question too, because I feel like there's multiple ways we can look at this. He blamed Windhorst blamed the media and the way they cover it. I do think that the way the media covers it is a part of it. I feel like when you look at the MLB or NFL, the media, I'll say if there's not to say that they don't focus on off the field stuff because they do, but I do feel like there's more conversation about what's actually going on the field with the MLB and the NFL compared to the NBA. Where NFL, NBA is kind of like gossip, or who's gonna sign next year instead of the actual play that's going on. I think that's a small factor of it though. I think the main reason for viewership is just a bad product right now. I think the 3 points, people being in love with 3-pointer is part of it. I don't 100% know what's the other part, but I know anytime I try to watch a game, it's very hard. It's blowouts every night. Even these past playoffs, these playoffs weren't good. There's a lot of blowouts in these playoffs and even in NBA finals. Pav, what do you think is the reason for the declining viewership that we see each year, especially this year? And is it fixable?
I think this year is I think that's a little bit overstated currently as we stand right now. I think if it's in February and we still saying the same thing about the ratings, cool. There's a lot of sports on right now, bro. Like a lot. That was the World Series, and it wasn't just any World Series. It was Yankees Dodgers. I'm probably not gonna watch an early regular season NBA game over Yankees Dodgers. I'm just probably not gonna do that, right? So there's like a lot of sports on. Also, I think the way you consume the NBA is a little bit different than the way you consume other sports because it is so highlight based, right? So, you know, like you can watch 1 minute recap and feel like you watched the whole game. I don't think you can really do that with NFL. And also, they play like 4 or 5 times a week. NFL is more. I will say the NFL does a better job of making the important games seem like events. I don't think the NBA does that, right? Like Celtics Warriors this week, they were both 8-1. They put it on at 4:30, but it was just like whatever, it's on at 4:30. You got to make that an event. Like you have to do, and I'm with him because he also, I think somebody had said this. I saw it on the internet. Well, like, you know, when you had like Bob Costas there and you had the, you know, the NBA on NBC there, even the prelude to the game just felt like, yo, we have to watch this. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like I think that even with the playoffs, they don't even do it with the playoffs. Like the playoffs don't even feel like as much of an event as what they once were. So I think it's a combination of things, right? I think the way you consume the game is different, especially with kids, because you can't get the kids to sit down and watch a full game. It's impossible. You can get them to watch a highlight.
You can't even get them to watch a full highlight day. They ain't watching 9 minutes of a full game highlight.
You can't even get them to watch the full condensed game. Yeah. And so you really can only get, which is why I like people like LaMelo Ball, right? I know people say, oh, LaMelo's having a season. Bro, he averaging like 5 turnovers. But 5.
Nobody cares. They look at highlights.
The highlights look incredible. Incredible. So I think like I said, I think the way you consume the game is just different than you do the other sports. And I think the other sports also do a much better job of making the big games feel like events. And I think right now, like I said, it's a little bit overstated because there are a lot of sports on right now, yo, like a lot of them. So, yeah.
Bang, I know you've always said about the presentation of the NBA, like Pav just said, with the Bob Costas, with the Amar Rashads, the Willow Bays, even just more recent. I think that somebody who does a great job of it is Mike Breen. I think that the situation that ESPN and ABC has put him in is crazy. Like, say whatever you want to say about Mar Jackson and Jeff Van Gundy. I just feel like they worked. They have not found a perfect replacement for that. You know, you had JJ Redick there for a little bit, and he decided to become a head coach.
I like Tim Legler.
Tim Legler's good, but even Legler won't be that big because Legler said he only works at nights so he can be with his kids. So you're never going to get Legler full time. But I think he's going to take less for Rogue. I think Legler is with All City. He's with All City right now, so he does a lot of stuff with them. Bane, what do you think is the main reason for this viewership decline? Is it strictly the media, or is there more to it?
No, there's more to it. But first, Pav is 100% right about the presentation of the game. I said when the NBA left NBC for ABC, ESPN, that this was going to happen. Mainly because ESPN does not do a good job at making the big events feel like big events, partly because they know people are going to come because they're the worldwide leader. NBC, on the other hand, is the home of must-see TV. They made every game that they got on the weekend must-see TV. I remember when I was a shorty, we made sure we got all of our basketball games in before the Bulls game or whatever game came on NBA on NBC. That's how much they made it important. The monologue that Bob Costas did, along with the intro to the game, and then you got the game and Marv Albert and Matt Gukas, or even Marv Albert and Magic Johnson shit. But they made the game, no matter what game it was, feel like it was important. When you look at NBA on TV, when you look at the NBA on TNT, to be honest, it sucks that we're losing basketball there mainly because of Inside the NBA, not because of Kevin Harlan, even though to me, Kevin Harlan is the best announcer in basketball right now. Kevin Harlan makes every game that comes on
He ain't
like
bad
something.
at football yesterday. His call of the blocked field goal in Kansas City last night was crazy.
It was crazy. He's the best. Yeah, he's
the Chiefs won the game.
Yeah, Kevin Harlan to me is the best, period. But TNT Inside the NBA overshadows the product. I don't even have to watch the game, and I'll watch Inside the NBA. So I think one, they have a product presentation. Then the NBA on TV, the NBA TV is the worst out of the sports television networks. They're the worst by far. They have such a library that they don't use. Whoever is the director of content at NBA TV needs to be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah, that's a job I want. Let me come. I got mad ideas. You need to have documentaries for, like, one thing. Remember what NFL used to do? Remember how they had it? How they have America's Game where they sponsor it, where they do the champions. They also had one series. They stopped doing it. It was called Missing Rings. Yes. Where they would bring up great teams who didn't win a championship. There's so many great NBA teams who didn't win championships. Well, you could do that for.
I watched. Bro, go ahead, Pat.
But like all the best NBA content is on YouTube. Like, literally, you can log on YouTube. Like, they got this is one thing they have, forgotten players. Like, there's so many things that you could do. Like, again, like we are in a full as like a culture 2000s nostalgia. You know how much you could do with that?
Pav, I didn't know that old girl that Jaylen Brown is with. I did not know not only her dad played in the NBA, but her dad was a part of the Phoenix Suns when the Phoenix Suns was about to get arrested for drugs, man, like for trafficking and shit. And I saw that on YouTube. I saw on Instagram yesterday, on Isaiah Thomas's Instagram, him talking about Mark Price and how Mark Price was doing shit that we applaud in the NBA right now. 50, 40, 90, splitting the defense and popping up at the three. Like, I watched that. And I mean, honestly, the last good thing that NBA TV did is putting Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas in front of each other. That's the best thing that they did.
So many memes from that.
Yeah, so when you have the NFL Network putting out the content that they put out, even MLB TV putting out the content that they put out, and NHL's content is improving, NBA TV is lagging behind, and that's what you need. NBA used to do a great job at this. Let me just say this. The NBA with David Stern used to do an amazing job at this. The NBA is fantastic. All of the DVDs and the tapes that they had, Come Fly With Me, even like no matter who you were, they had a documentary for the team. The reason why I became a Seattle Sonics fan was not just because of what I saw on the court, but I end up renting and watching a tape of them talking about the Seattle Supersonics, and I fell in love with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp through that. So they even have all of that can be replayed, or maybe they can't be replayed because of music licensing. I don't know. But you have all of those documentaries that you can reshare. I think that idea around the forgotten teams or the teams that didn't get a ring is all good, because you have people that only care about Michael Jordan, or they only care about LeBron James. I had an argument one time with a kid a couple of years ago that tried to shit on the Cleveland Cavaliers back in the day, but then shouts out to my man Ernie Scatton. Me and Ernie had an argument about some of the best teams that didn't win a ring. And he was saying how the Cleveland Cavaliers probably should have been the Chicago Bulls if it wasn't for Michael Jordan. In fact, I hate when people say Michael Jordan didn't win in the first round because of X, Y, and Z. Fam, those Milwaukee Bucks teams
Were great.
were great
Yeah.
teams, and people don't talk about them because of the Boston Celtics. But yet, you look at NBA TV and you're about to see a dope ass documentary with around the Celtics. In fact, I'll say it like this: if me or Scott can't get the job, the person who probably should run content for the NBA is Bill Simmons. Because
Yeah,
Bill
100%.
Simmons
Yeah, exactly.
kills it 100%. But the other part of it is, and I think it's a very important part of this too, because we went through this when Michael Jordan left. When the players that you grew up with are starting to fade away, you start to move away from the product. All of the players that I grew up around, along with the Michael Jordan group, are all moving away. I don't know really about Chet Holmgren. I don't know really about Zion Williamson other than him getting hurt all the time. There's a lot shot Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. Like there's some players that I know their game, but I don't know them.
But that's
And
why I think too.
real quick, let me finish
Go
this
ahead.
because I think this is the important part.
Yeah.
The great thing about the NBA back in the day is that you felt like you knew all of those players. You felt like we had the argument about Vince Carter last week. We felt like we knew Vince. We felt like we knew Allen Iverson. We felt like we knew Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Scottie Pippen. We felt like we knew Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry. We felt like we knew all of these people. We don't really identify or know some of these stars that's coming up. And that's why the NBA, NBA TV, NBA Entertainment, all of these entities within that has to do a better job. And the players have to do a better job at that too. Because right now, we see a lot of players that we really don't know and identify with. And if it's one thing about the NBA, which got them in this position, is the NFL is king because no matter who's on the team, you support the team. The NBA is one of the few sports that celebrate the player. So if you're celebrating the player and you're always celebrating the player, then when you don't know the player, who the fuck is you celebrating?
Yeah. I just want to say, Twitter gotta get they shit together, bro. They didn't cut off my stream about 2 times these last couple of days. I was like, why we lose 200 viewers that quickly? Because Elon don't be knowing what he's doing. But I just want to say this quickly on the viewership thing. Have y'all seen Starting Five on Netflix? Like to me, that is like the stuff that the NBA needs to be making. It's basically what Peyton Manning did the quarterback show a couple years ago, and he did wide receiver this year. They take 5 players and they go through the whole season with them documentary wise. And they did it this year for the NBA based off last year's season with Jason Tatum, LeBron, Anthony Edwards, Sabonis, and Jimmy Butler, which is really, really good and got you to know these players. And I feel that as much stuff LeBron does, it feels manufactured. This didn't feel manufactured. Like you really got to see that side of LeBron. I didn't know Jimmy Butler had kids, so I saw this. And then,
I was like, where'd that come from?
I had no idea they had that. So, like to me, they need to take, exactly what they did and kind of, go off what they need to do for that for what they do for their own content. And now they're gonna be doing season 2 next year for Starting Five. They're gonna be following, and they're recording it right now. It's based on this season. They're gonna be following Kevin Durant, Jaylen Brown, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Tyrese Halliburton, and James Harden. That's a good cast right there. So the NBA needs more type of stuff for that, for me to kind of get them engaged, because they got a lot of great talent. You usually get to know more about this talent.
So cool.
Triple double hat trick, I know the code too. Ice trade, go for trade, yeah we cold too. Getting paper on these player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not